What were some of the challenges faced by women in the United States during the women's rights movement? Opposition from other women. Many women themselves opposed women's suffrage, believing a woman's place was in the home and community, not in national politics. Some women distrusted politics and feared male politicians would manipulate them if given the right to vote. Societal norms and gender roles. There was a prevailing belief that society depended on separate, established gender roles, with men handling voting and public affairs. Civil War and Reconstruction priorities. After the war, priorities shifted to abolishing slavery and granting voting rights to black men through the 14th and 15th Amendments, delaying women's suffrage. Racism within the movement. A divide emerged after the 15th Amendment didn't include women, with many white suffragists excluding black women from their efforts. The movement leveraged its power and privilege, making a conscious decision to exclude women of color. There is no clear historical timeline of when white women let black women join the women's suffrage movement. Sorting out the kinks. Black women were involved in the women's rights movement from its early days, attending conventions like the 1837 Anti-Slavery Convention of American Women in New York City. Black women often faced racism and segregation within the predominantly white women's suffrage organizations like the National American Woman Suffrage Association, NAWSA, and the National Woman's Party, NWP. Rather than being fully included, black women organized separately within groups like the National Association of Colored Women, NACW, religious organizations, and local clubs and leagues. Opposition from both white suffragists and black men. Some prominent white suffragists like Stanton argued that white women should get the vote before black men after the Civil War, pitting racial and gender priorities against each other. Black men focused more on fighting racial discrimination, sometimes ignoring the need for women's suffrage as well. Women against women. This happened because of years and years of mental manipulation from the men we so-called loved. It was a decorated deception to keep women from caring about each other. Many women were beaten into submission and knew that if they ever disobeyed their husbands, there would be hell to pay. Our worlds were separated and we needed togetherness. If we do not bridge the gap and throw biases in the garbage can, we will be back to only standing in the kitchen and attending church services. Lose the blindfold and tap into the real you. Ladies, your life depends on it. If you like the video and want to see more like this, like, share, subscribe,